L'autre jour, j'ai lu une de ces études sur Internet qui
The other day, I read an online study which I found very
quelque chose qui avait
depressing.
l'air sérieux. C'était
It was something which looked very
50 000
serious.
personnes interrogées, Université de Melbourne.
50,000 people at the
C'est faux, sondage en
University
ligne.
of
Et le
Melbourne,
principal
and it was an
enseignement de l'étude,
online
c'était
survey.
que
The main point
57%,
behind this study is that
57%
57%,
des
that's
gens
57% of people
mentent
lie.
sur leur usage de
They lie
l'IA
about their
à leur
use
employeur.
of AI
Ils génèrent
to
du
their
contenu sans le
employer.
dire. Ils font passer ça
And
pour leur
I
propre travail.
conclude
57%,
that actually
ils l'admettent.
they
Pas juste qu'ils le
used
font, ils
AI
l'admettent.
and passed it off as their own
Ça
work,
fait 10 ans,
but they don't admit
ça
it.
fait 10 ans que je
But
travaille dans l'IA et du coup ça m'a
I've been
déprimé.
working in AI for the last 10 years. I found that very depressing.
Participer à un grand mensonge collectif. Moi, je voudrais
It's
aider.
like I'm participating in a huge collective lie.
C'est quand même un choix.
So I said to myself, well, it's a choice. Why do people lie?
Parce qu'en fait, on nous impose des
They
vérités sur
lie
l'IA.
because
Il y a
people
une
impose
vérité du
truths
monde
about
sur l'IA
AI,
qui
but
est
the
que
truth in the
l'IA
world is that
l'IA va
AI,
rendre surhumain, super intelligent, les nouvelles sciences.
people think that AI is going to make us super intelligent, superhuman.
L'IA va
But the
détruire
other
le
truth
travail.
is that AI is going to
Tous nos
destroy
automatisés,
our
c'est la dernière
work.
étape de la grande
It's
mécanisation du monde.
the last step
Est-ce
of
que
the
ces
big
deux vérités sont
scale
vraies?
mechanization of the
Aucune.
world.
Peut-être les
But
deux en
which
même
of
temps, peut-être qu'on va
these
avoir un monde dans
statements
lequel on
is
n'aura
true?
plus
Well,
besoin de travailler
neither
éternellement
of
sans
them.
avoir
Maybe
aucun sens.
we will no longer need to work in the future, and therefore our
Posé une
lives
question
will
à
be
une amie qui
meaningless. So I
travaille dans
asked
l'entreprise,
this question to a
l'IA
friend of
pourquoi?
mine,
Elle me
and
disait,
I asked him,
en fait,
what does
moi,
AI mean to you? And he
je
said,
fais
well,
appuyer sur des boutons dans une
all I need to
application,
is
etc.
on
Et
a
l'application
button in
m'impose.
and the
Donc moi,
application will do the work for
l'IA
me.
pour moi, ça n'a aucun sens. On
So
m'impose
for
déjà tous les
me,
outils. Donc,
AI doesn't make any sense.
qu'est-ce que ça a un sens pour moi?
Have it impose
Elle a raison.
on me the tools.
Elle a fondamentalement raison parce que dans les deux vérités du monde,
Well, at the same time, she's fundamentally right because this person has no place at their job. It's like they don't have any meaning left. They're going to disappear.
je me dis que, au fond,
And I think to myself, well,
les révolutions technologiques,
at the end of the day, all technological revolutions are just excuses for us to ask ourselves the right questions that come from far off. When we were starting printing, it was to print Bibles, but the real question that existed back then was who has the right tools. So this is about 2 centuries ago. Democracy depends on technology. So the printing press automated printing in workshops, what is the intensity of the work of humans, and that is the real question. So it's taken a few decades for us to get the right answer. When we automate production lines in car factories, it replaces humans, and that throws up real questions. So what are the real skills? The answer is that a few decades later, Toyota has had feedback about collective AI and collective intelligence, and the answer is that really technological advances in AI is just an excuse. The real question is that, well, what is the real value of the human brain, of the human know-how? That's the real question. Or really, well, the real question should be, how long will it take us to find all of the right answers to all of these questions? I like to believe that we still have the choice. It's not historical determinism which is going to make us suffer and make it take ages before we find the right answers. I believe that the right answer is as follows. All of us here today have the possibility of finding the right answers, that we need to believe in human intelligence. People have the right intelligence to build their own tools rather than be victimized by them. It's everyone's responsibility, so directors, company directors need to be thinking about investment, the kind of investment that they want to put into people, in their skills, in their abilities to understand how AI work, how can we use them at work so that we can benefit from them rather than be replaced by them. Is that not the answer? Our own belief in our skills with the people that we work with. In the future, there will be billions that will be invested into data centers. 10, 20, 50, 100, a trillion, I don't know. I don't know how much is really going to be invested. Will be invested in human training. What kind of number comes to mind? A similar number? Perhaps a tenth, a hundredth? What do you think?
Zéro? Oui, peut-être
Zero?
mais
Maybe zero.
un dixième. Ça veut
Well,
dire
let's
qu'on est en
say
train
a
de dire qu'on va
tenth. That
investir
means
10 fois
that
plus
we're going to
dans
be
construire des
investing
data
10
centers
times as much in
plutôt que
building data centers
former les
rather
gens à pouvoir utiliser
than
les outils.
training
C'est ça les vraies
people
ordres de
to
grandeur.
develop their own
Et est-ce que c'est
tools
logique?
and their own value. Does that make sense?
La
Because
réalité dans laquelle
that
on veut vivre.
is the reality that we're going to be living in.
Je veux croire
I
dans un
want
monde
to
dans lequel on a le
believe
choix.
that we are in a world where we
C'est un
have
choix qu'on porte
choice,
tous
and
collectivement.
this choice
Ce choix
affects all of
d'investir dans les
us.
gens, de
It involves
de les aider à
investing
trouver
into
cette
people so that
solution.
they can find their own
J'aime
solutions.
même
I
l'idée que
like the
au fond, il y a
idea
une ironie dans tout cela.
that
C'est-à-dire que
there's a
le monde
real
ami qui, en
irony
ce
in
moment,
all
ne
of
fait
that.
cliquer sur des boutons, ou en tout
People
cas
think
cette
that just
impression-là,
clicking
c'est en fait
buttons
elle
is going
connaît
to
le vrai
solve
sens de
things,
son
but
travail.
it's really
Peut-être
the
avoir la
person who knows the real meaning of their
plutôt que,
own
des
work. They know their
consultants
own
ou des
generosity
experts
rather than
de
looking
réinventer
to
son travail.
consultants or experts
De savoir
to come
comment
up with their work
effectivement
for
il
them.
faut
How will we be
augmenter sa
able
propre
to
capacité à
increase
faire les
our
choses
own abilities
J'aime
to
penser
do
que tout
things
ça, c'est
better? I
possible.
like to believe that all of that is possible.
Est-ce que j'ai raison? Est-ce que j'ai tort?
Am I right
Je sais
or
pas.
am I wrong?
Je
I
pense que
don't know.
c'est un
But I
pari qui
think
mérite d'être
that
fait.
it is a
Et c'est
bet
un
that
pari
is worth
qui
making.
correspond
It is a
à
bet that
effectivement non
corresponds
pas une vérité plutôt qu'une autre.
not to just one
Quand il y a
truth
deux
over
vérités du monde, quand il y
another.
a une utopie
When there are
et
two truths, when there is a
il y a
utopia
toujours
and a
une troisième.
dystopia, there's
Il y a
always
toujours un autre modèle qu'on peut inventer.
a third
C'est pas
which
parce qu'on
we
nous
can.
impose des vérités
It's
du
not
monde et des
because
vérités de l'IA
people
qu'en fait, on peut pas
impose
inventer
truths on
notre
us
propre
about
choix
AI
et
that it doesn't mean that we
réfléchir au
can't
modèle
come up with our own
qui pourrait
choices.
permettre
We need
de
to think
trouver
about
une
a
vraie valeur au
model
travail.
which will help us find real value at work. And I think that this
Pas une vérité.
choice
C'est une
is
question
not a truth. It's a
qu'on peut se
question
poser
that
et
we should
que
be asking ourselves.
la vraie question, c'est quand est-ce qu'on
But the
commence
real question is
à
when we
décider.
start to make our own decisions.